From Lee Amphitheater in New Haven, this is the Ivy League on ESPN. The final game of the penultimate weekend of the Ivy League season about to get started as the Yale Bulldogs host the Cornell Big Red. And a pleasant good evening, everyone, alongside Unqua Sonye. I'm Justin Galanti, glad to be with you. And the stakes are very high today. Yale, essentially, they need a win tonight and a win next weekend. They will win the Ivy League regular season and be the #1 seed at the Ivy League tournament in 2 weeks. Cornell entered the day in a tie for 4th. That's the last spot in the Ivy League tournament. With a Brown win earlier today, Cornell has to win tonight to keep pace.
And it's so interesting because this is a real revenge game for Yale. When they went to Ithaca just a month ago, Cornell ran them out of the gym, and now they've got a chance on senior night to get that back. Meanwhile, for Cornell, let's face it, they're fighting for their Ivy Madness lives tonight. And if this team can get out to a big run early on, it'll be interesting to see whether or not Yale can keep up with the pace.
Let's check out the players to watch this evening. Greg Dolan, the senior from Cornell, has had a fantastic season. Top 8 in the Ivy League in scoring and assisting.
And one of the things that you love to see from a point guard is someone who's able to do it all and keep things going on both ends of the floor.
For Yale, John Poulakidis coming off a career day in the win last Saturday against Princeton. He, for the weekend, averaged 23.5 per game.
And it's so easy to forget about him in a backcourt that has Bez Mbang and August Mahoney. But if you let Poulakidis get loose, Princeton found out the hard way, he can come get you.
Yale will be playing again tonight without its leading scorer, Matt Noling, for the second straight game. And with tonight being senior night, Mike Feinberg, the team captain, will get his first career start. What a moment for him. Our officials tonight are Nathan Hall, Tyler Sandman, and Jason Stallworth. And we are ready to get underway at Lee Amphitheater. Glad you could be with us tonight on ESPN+. Yale controls the tip. And the Bulldogs have the basketball to start the night in the hands of Bez Mbang.
Cornell opening up in man-to-man pressure.
Mbang had a career day in that game you talked about in Ithaca, 21 points on 7 of 7 shooting. E.J. Jarvis was stripped, and Cornell takes the basketball. Starting lineup for Brian Earl's team, Nazir Williams, Greg Dolan, Isaiah Gray, Sean Hansen, and Chris Mannon. 7th straight game that Cornell has gone with this starting 5. Here is Sean Hansen going against E.J. Jarvis. Cornell is a team that can score it as well as anyone in the country. They are 7th in the nation in scoring offense, and they have their first 2 thanks to Isaiah Gray.
And that's just a great high-low feed. Sean Hansen, you loved having a post player that knows how to utilize the elbow.
Here is Feinberg. That first career start can't hit. Rebound down to Chris Mannon. This Cornell team has already scored north of 100 points 3 times this year, more than 90 points 7 times, and they have 5 already. Naz Williams hits the 3.
And you see the pace that Cornell comes in with. We talked about at the very top of the broadcast, the Big Red loves pace, and it's favoring them right now.
John Poulakidis. No good. Jarvis on the stick back. Gets Yale on the board.
It looked like Poulakidis got hit on that last attempt.
I thought so, too. You mentioned it. Cornell likes to get up and down, and they like to do a lot of this, shoot threes. Hansen can't hit it, though. Along with being 7th in the country in scoring, Cornell takes the most threes per game and makes the 3rd most threes per game out of all 365 Division I teams. Jarvis almost walked with it, turned it over anyway. Now Williams on the floor will take the tie-up. And the possession arrow will keep it with Cornell. Little extra after the whistle, and I think a technical foul has been assessed to Nazir Williams.
And that's just too early to get involved in extracurriculars like that. Let's take one more look at what happened there. Clearly he's tied up. He was trying to call a timeout. That's what Williams was trying to do. But you can't put your hands on Mbang like that.
And the officials are going to review this to see if there's anything more, maybe dueling technical fouls, but we'll check that out. Yale, as we said, has been red hot of late. Started the Ivy League schedule, Unqua, 1-3. Since then, Yale is 7-1. Conversely, Cornell started Ivy League play 5-2. They are 1-4 since. So it's two teams going in opposite directions. Yale has already clinched a spot in the Ivy League tournament, along with Penn and Princeton. And Cornell is in a battle with Brown after today's results. Columbia had already been eliminated. Dartmouth has been eliminated, and Harvard has been eliminated. It's now Cornell and Brown for the last spot.
And Justin, we know this when it comes to March or even the weeks leading up to it, anything can happen. The unpredictability of what you need to do to get into your conference tournament, it always takes the forefront. So for this Cornell team, they're in a pretty well-attended house. They raced out to that 5-0 lead. And you don't want to look at a technical too early, but that's something that can switch momentum, to be honest, really unnecessarily.
Yeah, and it's not only 2 shots, it's also the first personal against Williams. And when you only get 5 in college, that's really a big deal. As you said, a very nice crowd on hand tonight for senior day. A lot of the students packing the building. That particular group of students is very well dressed, and candidly, we're not exactly sure who they are, but they yelled, "We love Mike Feinberg" at some point. So we assume they have some association with the Yale senior from Hidden Hills, California.
I kind of do want to know where they got their suits, because they actually wear them very well. I did not dress that well when I was their age.
No,
I unfortunately can say that.
And by the way, Feinberg's brother, Robbie, played basketball at Harvard a few years ago. And, yeah, they're doing a double technical here. So Mbang gets one and Williams gets one. And James Jones, the head coach for Yale, is, as you can see, not happy. Just to finish the quick story, so Robbie Feinberg played basketball at Harvard. When Michael Feinberg was announced for senior day, him and James Jones did give each other a hug. So I guess those schools can have a little bit of friendly nature.
Maybe. But I'll say this, Cornell dodged a huge bullet with the fact that they don't have to give up possession. The fact that they still managed to have this 3-point lead early on instead of having to give up 2 shots and the ball. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this possession. And maybe Nas Williams is ticked off enough that it'll screw his head on right and see if he can attack the basket.
Williams had perhaps the best game of his career against Yale last month. 27 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. But in Cornell's last game against Harvard, a 17-point loss. He was held to 4 points. He already has 3 today. So technical fouls on both Williams and Mbang. No change of possession, no shooting, but a personal foul against the 2 of them. Here's Williams on the back cut, guarded by Mbang, and he scores. 5 points already for Nas Williams.
See what I said? I wondered whether or not Williams would be ready right after that technical. So far, he is.
A 7-2 lead for Cornell. Isaiah Kelly driving inside, and it's a foul going against Chris Mannon, and Yale will keep the ball.
I know it's early, but I actually love what Cornell is doing defensively against Yale's posts. Jarvis couldn't get a good look inside, and neither could Kelly on that last possession.
Jarvis tried to spin it around the rim and in. He does draw the foul and will shoot 2. And now Cornell going to make a line change. 4 new guys coming in. That's what they do. Nobody plays that many minutes. Nobody individually scores that many points. But as a team, they score a ton, 83 a game. Their leading scorer is Dolan at 13.5 per game, Williams at 13.2. They have 6 guys averaging at least 8 points a game. Jarvis, a very good free throw shooter, 71%. Senior from Washington, D.C., has had a fantastic season. He's been really good lately, 16 points, 5 rebounds per game over his last 3. One of those guys who has stepped up without Matt Noling in the lineup.
And he brings really top-flight athleticism for his size. I mean, he's broad-shouldered, but his ability to play above the rim is a really big deal, especially since the posts haven't been able to create on their own early on. He was able to take that high pass and get himself to the line.
So Keller Boothby is in. Guy Ragland, who's from West Hartford, Connecticut, has the basketball, goes right at Jarvis and scores. And Cornell is 4 of 5 from the floor to start the game.
And Ragland has great Connecticut lineage when it comes to basketball. Played at Northwest Catholic, a consistent contender in the CIAC, and of course played at St. Thomas More.
There's John Poulikitis. Feinberg still in. 6 to shoot. Good feed for Feinberg. Goes up with the reverse and scores. That ain't easy.
And I'm going to say that the Emmy award-winning section of the student section was up on its feet on that one.
There's Dolan, the lone starter in the game for Cornell at the moment, who leads the game by 3. Max Watson, a Boothby 3. Too long, Kelly the rebound. Cornell has the ability to really punch you in the mouth and score a lot of points very quickly. And when you play against them, so much of it is just withstanding those and staying in the game so you can take control when those hot shooting streaks stop.
And here's what's interesting about Yale as we take a look at Mbank's drive to the cup. Got such a way that Euro step to get to the lane. But Yale can run. They just don't go breakneck speed. So when somebody like Mbank can sort of use that secondary break to create the extra offense that Yale needs when they face a team like Cornell that runs over and over again, it means that games like this will never have them too far out of their comfort zone.
August Mahoney checks in, and how about this? Yusuf Bassa Ama, the junior from Ghana, is in. He's missed a ton of the season with injury, and he is playing for the first time since December 31st against Columbia as Mbank splits the pair. Much needed size with not only Noling but also Danny Wolf, the 7-foot first year, out of the game tonight. Foul here goes against Isaiah Kelly, his first, and Cornell will keep the ball.
And Kelly was just wrong place, wrong time. I mean, that could have been a no call. It could have gone either way. I mean, if you're Yale, knowing that the front court's a little bit thin with Bassa Ama just checking in, you don't want Kelly getting in foul trouble too early.
Greg Dolan going to the rim, and he airballed the layup. He thought he was fouled, but no call. Here's that Yale running offense that you talked about. And a pass a little too hot for Bassa Ama to handle. Max Watson for Dolan. Boothby left open. And that's an air ball.
And the first pass on that fast break was just a little too hot. If that was thrown with just a bit more touch, that would have been an easy two for the Big Red.
Poulikitis gets the screen. Gets the switch. Misses the 3. Yale coming off a truly historic win against Princeton Saturday night, trailed by 21 in the second half as the Bulldogs get a steal. Mahoney ahead of the field. And the game tied at 9.
That's just great heads-up defense by Yale, forcing that loose ball, and almost forced another one.
Yale ended up beating Princeton in overtime to set up what was a 3-way tie for first place entering the day. Princeton and Penn have won, and Yale is hoping to hold serve. Cornell turnover takes us to a timeout. 14:36 to go, first half. All square between the Big Red and the Bulldogs.
Together, we can be champions for the Earth.
Walking out of that Yale huddle is 24th year head coach James Jones, who Unqua tonight has a chance to become the second coach in Ivy League history to win 200 conference games. The other is Pete Carrill, the longtime head coach at Princeton, who's over 300, but a chance for a pretty big accomplishment for Coach Jones.
And when you think about the impact that James Jones has had on this program, you got to remember that when he got here, Yale being a part of the conversation of the cream of the crop in Ivy League basketball, it just wasn't there.
Yep.
So for him to be there as long as he has and to build a consistent contender, that's something you really have to give your credit to and tip your hat to.
And not just a contender. If Yale can win its next 2 games, it'll be Coach Jones' 6th regular season Ivy League title. And of course, they are the reigning tournament champions. Yassine Garam is in the game for the Bulldogs for the first time. And Jarvis is back in for Basa Ama. Jack Malloy will check in for Isaiah Kelly.
Now, this rotation is super interesting to me because Malloy can play inside, but if he's in the game, they want him to shoot it.
6'8", 225 sophomore from Greenwich. Poulakidis knocks down the jumper. First points of the game for the sophomore out of Illinois, who had 30 in the overtime win against Princeton. A turnover by Williams, and Garam will move it up the court. It's 3 turnovers against Cornell. Jarvis on the rip through, throws it down.
Get up, big fella. Bringing the thunder to New Haven.
Special athlete right there. Gray looking for an outlet. Finds Chris Mannon. Mannon for 3. And a big answer to bring it back to a 1-point game.
And that's how you quiet a crowd. If someone's going to rock the rim like that, drilling one right between the eyes.
You know, Cornell generally in Ivy League play does not make as many field goals per game as their opponents, but they make so many threes that it makes up for it.
And they'll have to keep that shooting up on the road because one thing Yale knows how to do is attack the basket.
Poulakidis for 3. He thought he was fouled there going for the rebound, and then he commits a foul against Williams, and it seems like the Yale side is starting to get a little testy with the whistles so far.
Yeah, and that was just an unwise foul there if you're Poulakidis. If you get beaten, you think you get hit, just sprint back and see who you can cover, because those cheap fouls will come back to bite you in the second half if you pick up too many. But one thing I'll definitely say about this rotation for Yale, Jack Malloy needs to be very careful about where he is on the floor. A couple possessions ago, he was sort of caught up with Mahoney on the same side of the wing. If Poulakidis doesn't hit that elbow jumper, that would have been a turnover.
Hansen leaves the 3 short, and there's your guy Jack Malloy with the rebound. Cornell is 5 of 12 from the floor. Hit a couple threes. Yale 5 for 9. Yassine Garam, whose playing time has gone up seemingly every game, turns the basketball over. Not only does Cornell force a lot of turnovers, they do turn it over themselves quite a bit. It's just sort of the nature of the pace they play, as Williams misses, and the EMT who's sitting under that basket thought that was an offensive foul.
Well,
I just thought I'd say that.
We know where we are, right?
She was demonstrative. Garam with the extra pass. Poulakidis for 3.
And that's what a good skip pass can do for you. Great look by Malloy. And then Garam completes the swing to the corner.
Raglan's. That's a green light shot if I've ever seen one. Can't hit it. And the Bulldogs will slow the pace. 6 for Jarvis, 5 for Poulakidis. Williams has 5 for Cornell.
Oh, and Garam was looking inside for Jarvis. Great recovery by Nas Williams, even though he gave up size.
Malloy. Yale is +5 on the glass in the early going. Tremendous rebounding team. This is a tie-up. Possession will give the ball to the home team. 10:59 to go in the first, and the Bulldogs on senior night lead by 4.
Lily! Whoa, welcome to our third Barkery.
Oh, I can tell business is going through the roof.
But seriously, we need a reliable way to help keep everyone connected from wherever we go.
Well, at AT&T, we'll help you find the right wireless plan for you, so you can stay connected to all your drivers and stores on America's most reliable 5G network.
That sounds just perfect.
Terrierific.
I Labrador you.
Round of applause.
AT&T 5G is fast, reliable, and secure for your business.
You could go from point A to B, or you could go to point X. The BMW X Range, your next X venture, starts here.
Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance offers today.
I'm your glitchy Wi-Fi, which means your smart home is so smart.
Sprinkler on.
And now I'm sending mixed signals to your garage. But if you haven't bundled your home with auto, unpacking this isn't going to be too much fun. So get Allstate.
Next on Behind the Series.
And on my years of playing, man, that 22 draft was something special.
If I hadn't seen it in person, I wouldn't have believed it.
Where can I even start?
The monster. It was scary good.
The outlaw? Come on.
The Philly had beef with everyone. And by beef, I mean tender, juicy steak.
It wasn't just a roster. It was a menu.
The Subway Series, the greatest menu of all time.
I'm getting hungry just to... Hey, can we take a... Hey, can I get a sandwich?
4-point lead for Yale, nearly midway through the first half at Lee Amphitheater. Justin Galante, Unqua Sonye, our entire outstanding crew, glad to be with you. This is the 7th season for Brian Earl, the reigning Ivy League Coach of the Year at Cornell. He was a fabulous player at Princeton. He was the Ivy League Player of the Year in 1999. He was an assistant at his alma mater from 2007 to 2016. And he's been the head coach at Cornell since 2016, trying to bring them back to the Ivy League tournament for a second straight year.
And it is a very telling thing when someone who's excelled in this league can come back to try and lead a program. He knows the intricacies of the league. He knows what it's like to have to balance schoolwork with all the things you got to do off the floor.
Jarvis with the athletic move, can't finish. Mbang the rebound, but threw it to no one in particular. And Mannon gets the steal, foul on Malloy. Now, what's awesome about this head coaching matchup, there are only 5 sets of brothers who are head coaches at the D1 level. Brian Earl and his brother Dan, who is the head coach at Chattanooga. James Jones for Yale. His brother Joe is the head coach at BU. And the other 3, Scott Drew at Baylor and his brother Bryce at Grand Canyon. Bobby Hurley, Arizona State. Danny Hurley in this state at UConn, as the 3 is good for Dolan. And the last of the 5 is the Millers, Sean at Xavier and Archie at URI.
I will leave one of the comments about that last pairing to myself, but it should go without saying what I'm trying to say.
A lot of those are in the Northeast, though, which is interesting.
Right. I mean, they all love hoops, which means they all love the cold.
E.J. Jarvis sticks the 3. Tell you what, Jarvis has not always been consistent this year, but he has the ability to be really as good as any big in this league.
The fact that he's taken 27 threes this year already says that he's trying to expand his game. That's a big, big game changer for Yale if that starts to get consistent down the stretch.
Naz Williams blocked by Jarvis, but goaltending. Back to a 2-point game. Jarvis comes into today averaging 11 points and 5 rebounds. He's also giving Yale a block and a half per game, which is second in the league.
Let's take one more look in Yale. It's close, but that ball was on its way down from this view over here. I mean, it's so interesting because we haven't really seen any post adopt the whole block everything mentality. It might be worth considering, maybe not now, but maybe down the stretch if you really want to keep Cornell out of the paint.
First 2 points there in a while for Naz Williams, who had the quick 5 to start the night. So Yale leading by 2. Here's Mbang for August Mahoney, who's a double-figure scorer for Yale, but hasn't scored yet. Jarvis again rattles the rim.
The ability to go high post to get to the cup. Cornell wasn't letting Yale's post establish in the post. That's a good way to get the job done.
Here's Here's Marcus Fillion, the senior from Rensselaer, New York. Mannon out to Fillion. And Jarvis has the rebound, trying to keep it in, threw it right to Gray. And what do we have here? A foul, and that could be goaltending because it looks like a Yale player might have gone up through the rim, but it doesn't look like they're going to call that. They might go check on it here, though, to see if it's goaltending. I think Jarvis might have gone up through the rim.
Potentially, but I don't even think that he was in the position to make contact on that call. I'm glad they're going to look at it. We'll see if they place the foul on somebody else.
Well, I'll tell you what. Coming to this game today, I was worried that we wouldn't get any video reviews. So I'm glad this is the second one already. But the official actually just came over and said they're checking for a flagrant, not goaltending. In which case, I didn't see anything on that replay. I don't know about you.
It's an interesting decision to say the least. I mean, from our view, it looked like it was just a lot of contact, sort of thing that you'd expect to happen in the low post. We've talked about the stakes of this game from the very beginning. So I can't say that I saw it myself. And I'm frankly surprised that the foul was called on Jarvis, because it was really the second defender that went up with Jarvis that made the most contact. Let's take one more look. Pulls the rebound. He went straight up. I would have given it to Isaiah. I don't know. I would have given it to Isaiah Kelly, who kind of rushed it from behind.
Wow, they are calling an intentional foul against Jarvis here. And this is going to be 2 shots and the ball. There you see Brian Earl, the reigning coach of the year in the Ivy League. And a stoic standing, and he's chatting up with Yassine Garam right now. So Gray's going to get 2 free throws here. He's 67% at the line. And Cornell will keep the ball. I guess that right arm swinging down of Jarvis was enough to warrant more than a common foul. For those who can't see us, which is all of you, my partner here is speechless. Didn't like the call.
Let's talk about something else. I mean, I don't want to opine about the call, right? Because it's early, it's very back and forth. But I don't know how I feel about an intentional being called on that. I know it's been testy early, but we've already got now a double technical and a flagrant. I don't know. It's a little early.
Cornell has won 2 in a row against Yale, including a win this year. Trying to sweep the season series for the first time since the 2009-2010 season from Yale. They're going to have to put one up here. Ragland with 2 to shoot. Trying to go through Kelly, and a shot clock violation. By the way, Unquad, these 2 straight wins for Cornell over Yale follows a streak that started in 2013 and ended last year when Yale had won 16 straight games against Cornell.
That really speaks to the level of consistency that they pulled out. But also, that Cornell team back in that 08, 09, in that stretch where they had the 7-footer John Lawyer, I mean, that was a very tough team.
Yeah, that was a group that won 3 straight Ivy League championships under Steve Donahue, who's now the head coach at Penn. Jarvis wants 3. Give him all 3.
You know what, Justin? I'm sensing a trend here. Once a technical gets called against you, all of a sudden you start to get hot. So good for E.J. Jarvis.
Jarvis has 14. His career high is 18. Lefty hook shot, no good from Sean Hansen. Mbang wants to run. Mahoney on the drive. Up and under, doesn't get the roll. August Mahoney still has not scored 10 a game this year for Yale, who leads by 5. The senior Greg Dolan. And a wild pass and a turnover. And bang for Jack Malloy.
And that is how you run in transition. The presence of mind for Mbang to drop it off for the trailer. Well done.
Dolan leaves it short. Bulldogs on a bit of a run here. It's 5 in a row to take a 7-point lead, which is the largest of the game. Long time without a whistle here. And bang is fouled. They're going to say no basket. A circus shot that will only count in the memories of everyone at this basketball game. And we'll take a break. 6:31 remaining first half. Yale on a 5-0 run, leads by 7. Seven-point lead for Yale, 6:35 to go first half over the Cornell Big Red. Unqua, the last time these two teams met, January 13th, let's just say, don't count this one over until it's over. Yale had a big lead in that game. Cornell finished it on a 37-12 run. Kind of did to Yale what Yale did to Princeton 7 days ago.
And I'll tell you what, the way that these two teams have been able to counter every run that they've had, I would not do this game the disservice of calling it over at all.
The interesting thing when you watch Cornell, right? Number 1 scoring offense in the league, and they play so fast. Mbang for 3, way off. It feels like, you know, they take a lot of quick shots. They can shoot themselves out of a game very quickly, but they also have the ability to shoot themselves into a game very quickly.
And it's one of those things where you try to find the balance, but the truth is if you veer too hard in the don't shoot direction, you take away the very thing that makes them hard to cover and the one thing that gives them a chance in games where they look out of it. So you gotta live with the fact that they're gonna take a lot and either make or miss a lot. It depends on the day.
There's Manning, who's gotten off to a good start to the game. Now Nas Williams. Off the handoff. Keller Boothby. Offensive rebound for Ragland Jr. And another tie-up. This time it'll stay with Cornell.
And we can see head coach Brian Earl for Cornell just frustrated on the sideline. He wants that ball to move around a little bit more. He also wanted a hold on Ragland on that offensive board.
Cornell shares the ball incredibly well. 6th in the country in assists per game. Also 6th in the country in steals per game. A lot of these numbers, top 10 in the country for Cornell. Throw another one at you there. 7th in Division I in scoring off the bench.
And that just goes to what you mentioned near the top of the broadcast, you know, hero by committee for this Cornell Big Red team, which means you have to account for everybody.
Oh, good pass for Manning.
That's what you need from your floor general. Point blank, period.
5 points now for Manning. Yale's main scoring has come from E.J. Jarvis today. He's not on the floor. Garam with the turnover. Ragland against Basa Ama, playing in his first game in more than 2 months. Ragland's three's not quite falling right now for Cornell. 3 of 12 from distance.
Great transition defense from Cornell.
How about that pass? But Malloy can't connect.
That's why you sprint back. Great defense by the Big Red.
Offensive foul. Malloy draws the charge as Josh Baldwin ran right over him.
And again, this is why they talk about this so often. Sprint back, get into position. You pick up calls like that. If you try to jog or keep it cute, try to get to the paint, that's how you end up picking up cheap fouls.
One thing is for certain, when you play Cornell, you need to be in shape for that game. Under 5 to go in the first half in New Haven. Jarvis is back in for Yale. 14 points to lead all scorers tonight. Mbang directing traffic. Pulikitis with 4 to shoot. He's going to have to put one up. He's fouled by Chris Mannon with 2 on the shot clock. And Pulikitis will shoot 2.
Oh, and Mannon is kicking himself. And not to rub salt in the wound, but you have to play that one a little bit better. You know that Pulikitis can and will pull up from just about anywhere on the floor. Got to be a little bit more disciplined when you're guarding somebody like that.
79% free throw shooter misses the first. Pulikitis this year averages 11.8 points per game. But against Princeton, he's north of 24 points per game. The Tigers do not want to see him in 2 weeks in the Ivy League tournament.
Sounds personal to me.
1 of 2, and Pulikitis has 6 today. That is Yale's lead. Gray, nice catch. Jarvis got a piece, and Mahoney has a rebound.
And Cornell really wanted a foul on that drive to the cup.
Mbang off a deflection. It'll stay with Yale. If you're just joining us, the Bulldogs, with 2 wins in the final 2 games, would clinch at least a share of the regular season title and be the 1 seed in the Ivy League tournament at Princeton in 2 weeks. Cornell is a half game back, a 4th at the moment. There is nothing definitive we can say tonight. They can't be eliminated no matter what. They can't clinch. And the tiebreakers are going to shake out based on what happens next week in a bunch of games. So basically, with a win, they'll enter next weekend tied. With a loss, they'll enter next weekend a game behind Brown. Gray flying into the paint. And Boothby stepped out of bounds. And it's another Cornell turnover. 8th Cornell turnover. Yale has 7, but the Bulldogs have a 6-point lead with under 4 to go in the first half.
Lily! Welcome to our 3rd Barkery.
Oh, I can tell business is going through the roof.
But seriously, we need a reliable way to help keep everyone connected from wherever we go.
Well, at AT&T, we'll help you find the right wireless plan for you, so you can stay connected to all your drivers and stores on America's most reliable 5G network.
That sounds just perfect.
Terrierific.
I Labrador you.
Round of applause.
AT&T 5G is fast, reliable, and secure for your business.
You could go from point A to B, or you could go to point X. The BMW X Range. Your next X venture starts here.
See your local BMW center today for exceptional lease and finance offers.
There are all kinds of products in this world. Things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product is different. It's 12,000 experts whose responsibility is to be there, to guide you through the happiest and most difficult times. People who know the most valuable things in life aren't things at all. This is our product. This is what we do.
The scoring has hit a bit of a stall point late in the first half, with Yale up by 6 over the Cornell Big Red. 2 of the best offensive teams in the Ivy League dueling here tonight. Cornell won in Ithaca in January. Yale looking to return the favor here tonight at Lee Amphitheater, alongside Unkwa Asonye and our entire outstanding crew. Justin Galanti, glad you're with us. And it's been an interesting start to this game. Pretty physical, and these teams have gotten a little chippy at times, and it's been fairly close the whole way. Yale's largest lead 7, Cornell's 5, so we've been within a 12-point parameter, I guess, to the start of this game.
And the stakes are definitely high in tonight's matchup, so chippiness is to be expected, I'd say.
Mbang got his own rebound, and a foul for a reach against Yale's Yassine Garam. Kelly has 2 fouls for Yale. That is Garam's first, and that is the 16th foul. Cornell has committed 7, so both teams are in the penalty.
Oh, boy. We talked about that pace. We don't want Cornell to run themselves out of their own offense.
Gray knocks down a big 3. 7 points for Isaiah Gray, the junior from Brooklyn.
And this is what you were talking about earlier, Justin. They can shoot their way into games or out of it. And being able to make those contested threes, that's putting Cornell in a real good position.
Jarvis on the reverse. Cornell is having a nightmare of a time guarding E.J. Jarvis.
There's not much more you can say. I mean, he's getting it everywhere in every single way.
16 for Jarvis, 2 off his career high. Hansen to the rim, and he can't score. Give credit to Jarvis for effecting that shot.
We'll see now. If I'm Yale, you might want to see how quickly you can get Jarvis the ball.
How about a 3? Too long. First miss in 3 tries from behind the arc. Dolan leaves for Gray. He's open. Almost a wedgie there up against the backboard. Remember, Yale is playing without its leading scorer today in Matt Noling. Second straight game he has missed. 5th game he's missed all year. Yale is 3-1 as Mahoney knocks down a long 3.
Giving Cornell a taste of its own medicine.
First 3 points for August Mahoney. Yale is 3-1 without Noling. The only loss came at Kentucky. So that one explainable, I would say. 2 shots coming here for Cornell. 2 of 2 at the line in the game.
And it looks like, Justin, they called that one on the floor.
Oh, wow.
So I'm surprised, too. So this being a 1-and-1 for Williams is a bit surprising.
Good call there. Williams, 80% at the line this year, which is 3rd among qualifiers in the Ivy League. 7 points tonight for the sophomore from Nyack, and he misses the front end. So that's obviously a big call that it was on the floor and not a shooting foul.
And at times we've seen Brian Earl be absolutely apoplectic at how Cornell's been moving the ball on their end of the floor.
Mbang whips it for Mahoney. Jarvis, the offensive rebounds. Mahoney again. In and out. 2 good looks. 1 for Poulikitis, 1 for Mahoney on that possession.
And low-key, Michael Feinberg, the hero of that possession with the off-ball screen that freed up Poulikitis for that first open look.
Feinberg's going to get called for a blocking foul here. And Dolan will shoot the 1-and-1. You know, from our angle, it certainly looked like a block. On that replay, it looked a little closer to me, one of those that could have gone either way. Dolan 75% at the line. As we told you in the open, he is top 8 in the Ivy League in scoring, assists, also 3-point field goal percentage, steals, and he's number 1 in assist to turnover ratio.
And all that is while keeping in mind that tonight he's been relatively quiet. Just that 1 3-pointer. We'll see if Cornell can get him going.
And no assists. Hits the first. That loss last time out against Harvard, Cornell only scored 56 points, which was their low this season. That was coming off an overtime win the night before against Dartmouth. Speaking with Brian Earl this week, as Ragland gets the offensive rebound. A 3 for Nix is no good, and Mahoney has it. He said, yeah, we might have been a little worn down from the night before, but it's not an excuse. We had an opportunity in front of us, and we didn't take advantage of it.
And speaking of opportunities, that one was taken just a little bit too soon from Cornell.
Mahoney Going baseline. 8 to shoot. How about this guy, EJ Jarvis, fading away. Oh my goodness! And he ties a career high with a miraculous shot. A 3 for Dolan, and he's got it right at the buzzer. And don't forget about that shot if this game finishes in Cornell's favor. A 9-point game becomes 6 at the break. 34-28. Yale on top at the half. New Haven, a 6-point lead for Yale at the break, and Unqua, you look at these numbers, Yale just slightly outshooting Cornell from 3, but from 2, Yale had a major advantage.
And don't let that percentage fool you. Very early in the first half, Cornell was shooting the lights out, but when you add in the fact that Yale has been so productive inside, thanks to EJ Jarvis, the play of Bez Mbang as well, Cornell trying to shoot threes just to sort of counteract that. We'll see, because if that three-point percentage can go up to maybe 35, 36%, we could be looking at a much closer game.
Yeah, and I think the main question for Brian Earl at halftime is how do you defend EJ Jarvis? 18 points and 5 rebounds in the first half, tying a career high in scoring already.
And mind you, we have seen EJ Jarvis take that career high very methodically, not always getting the ball. Here, he seems to be option number 1. I think it might be time to throw 2 bodies at him, because James Jones is willing to put him anywhere and everywhere. See how high he's catching that ball.
Here he is, faces up and airballs the jump shot. And Cornell with the ball. 3 players with 7 points in the first half for Cornell: Williams, Gray, and Dolan. And don't forget that 3 Dolan hit at the buzzer to get this back to 6. Feels so much different than if it was a 9-point game at the half. Chris Mannon, a 3 for Sean Hansen, around and out.
It's the kind of look you're looking for if you're Cornell. Eventually, it's just going to come down to making shots.
Mbang with a lot of contact, scores and will shoot 1.
And that's just the grace, the finesse that Bez Mbang has when he gets to the cup. See how he's absorbing the contact. He absorbed it on the high 5 too, but with Gray right on him, just making sure that he doesn't try to run through the guy to run him over and maybe pick up an incidental foul call, being focused on finishing at the cup.
Mbang misses the free throw. He's had a bit of a quiet day, just 3 points now. Averages almost 10 a game. He's very close to being the 5th Yale player in double-figure scoring on the season. He's just below that number. Bulldogs again playing without their leading scorer in Matt Noling today. Still up 8.
And we see that they're already double covering Jarvis off the ball.
Poulakidis knocks down the triple. Cornell went under a screen there, and Poulakidis now with 9 points. And behind the play, Hansen is limping, so the officials stop it, and he's going to have to leave the game here.
And yeah, that is not good timing for Cornell. As Hansen limps over to the bench. I mean, but what they were doing with Jarvis that last possession, they actually had Hansen playing behind Jarvis, and then Williams sort of pseudo-fronting him a little bit so that he could go out and close out on anyone on the perimeter if he had to. But EJ Jarvis will not be getting any more easy looks from inside.
Mannon on the drive, blocking foul on August Mahoney. His first. Kelly and Garam had 2 fouls in the first half for Yale, and Mannon was the only player with 2 for Cornell. Mahoney took quite the shot there and is a little slow to get up.
Oh, and that was just really tough contact, because Kelly was already trying to follow him, and Mahoney stood right there. But he's up and trying to guard Gray.
Out of bounds here on the inbound. Ragland was wide open, but his foot was on the sideline. Bit of a disjointed start to the second half. Yale has scored the only 5 points that have been scored since the break.
And I know it's not an earth-shattering start for Yale, but if you're Cornell, you got to get it together and fast.
Mbang scores 7-0 run, largest lead of the game for Yale. Naz Williams. Cornell really in need of a basket here.
You see, they're still out of shape. Even on that dribble handoff between Ragland and Williams, they weren't quite on the same page as to when that ball was being given off.
Well, Ragland does draw the foul on Jarvis. 2 shots coming for the 6'8" sophomore from West Hartford.
Listen, this is where it starts to turn around. At least this is where Cornell's going to need it to. And they are going to attack E.J. Jarvis, because one thing that will keep the big man off the floor is foul trouble.
Just his first foul there. Ragland 74.5% as a free throw shooter. It's interesting, he and Sean Hansen both averaged exactly 5.6 points per game last year. And the two of them are both averaging exactly 9.1 points per game this year.
Symmetry much?
I like his shoes, too.
All right, now here's where I'm interested to see how Cornell plays the pressure. We'll see if they throw another body at Mbang, or whether Mbang will be able to just break those double teams by just blowing past defenders. He's got that kind of speed.
Basa Ama is back in for Yale. Mahoney steps into a 3. Doesn't miss those often.
Cornell caught a break. You cannot leave him that wide open.
Number 1 in the Ivy League, shooting 45% from 3 on the year. Ragland.
Yeah, Cornell needs to figure out what they're doing on offense. I've really only seen one possession from them that I've liked.
Mahoney on the floater from the baseline. Mbang gets a piece. It'll stay here with Cornell. Yale has had a couple games where they've gone on some massive second half runs. And Cornell needs to be a little careful of that right now. It's a 9-2 run out of halftime right now. And you don't want this to get to 15 or 17 by the under 16 timeout.
And you've got to be really, really careful if you're Cornell to not take those panic shots. Yeah, you're down a bunch, but you can't shoot your way out of it in one possession. That's great defense by Mahoney, keeping Dolan at bay. Still had a quiet day for the Big Red.
6 to shoot here. Dolan on a difficult shot, no good. Out of bounds off of Yale. Like the Bulldogs, Cornell had a fantastic non-conference season. They were 10-3. Their only 3 losses were at ACC opponents, BC, Miami, and Syracuse. And the BC and Miami losses were by 2 points each. Off to a great start in the Ivy League, but have not necessarily been able to maintain that pace all season as Mbang commits a foul.
Talk about a loss that has aged well for Cornell, with Miami's meteoric rise through the polls this year.
And that wasn't just a 2-point game. That was 107 to 105 in regulation.
You told us before, Justin, them boys can put up points.
3 times over 100 this year. Does not seem like they're getting there tonight.
Well, there's still 16 minutes left.
And Mbang commits another foul. That is 4 against Yale in the half, and it will take us to a timeout. Just over 4 gone by in the second, and the Bulldogs up by 13 points over Cornell.
It's the greatest combination of athletics and academics you can get in a university, and it's really humbling being surrounded by so many like-minded people.
It's an institution with a lot of history,
Now I'm in this place where I know how to balance my life, and it's great.
Here, there is such a focus on academics and athletics, and so you get to play at a really high level, but you also get to be in the classroom at a really high level.
It's been special to throw on this color every day. It's been something I'm very grateful for.
At Team Impact, we pair kids who have been sidelined by serious illness and disability with college teams from across the country.
What's up, big man? You good?
It's more than a single-day meet and greet or photo opportunity. Our program places kids on a multi-year journey, becoming true members of a collegiate athletics team.
We are Penn State.
From signing day to game day.
I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact. All in, all together.
The Yale Club for me has become a second home.
With 13,000 members, all of whom come from different backgrounds.
You discovered this family you didn't know you had until you showed up here.
My favorite thing about the Yale Club is connecting with new people who are bright and driven and interesting and making those new connections.
Just walking in brings a sense of calm to my day.
The Yale Club is my home away from home.
It's the greatest combination of
9-2 run out of halftime for Yale, who leads by 13 tonight in New Haven. The Bulldogs, with wins in their final two games, would be the #1 seed in the Ivy League tournament. Cornell trying to keep pace with a win for the fourth and final tournament spot. They enter play tonight a half game behind Brown. Chris Mannon out of the timeout, and Basa Ama makes his impact felt with a steal.
And that really was the window for Cornell to try to climb back into this game. You have the ball out of the media timeout. Turnover is not going to get you any closer.
One thing to note is with those consecutive fouls that Bez Mbang committed, as Poulikitis misses short, he now has 3 and is on the bench. And in transition, a 3 for Dolan. And Cornell just can't buy one right now. 5 of 20 from 3. And they're good looks.
And this is exactly what we were talking about. Sometimes you just have to shoot.
Garam, Kelly, Basa Ama, Mahoney, Poulikitis. The 5 on the floor for James Jones. And this is a moving screen against Isaiah Kelly. And that is his 3rd foul.
That's the only thing that you can be encouraged about if you're Cornell. I mean, Yale is making its own sets of mistakes. And he kind of sold it, Mannon did, a little bit. But still, if you're Kelly, you got to be established just a little bit earlier if you want to escape that call.
Mannon to the rim. And they'll count it, plus the foul. And now the officials will get together and chat about this. It's definitely a foul on Mahoney. Question is, will the basket count? They say no. Wipe off the basket. It remains 43-30. But it is the 6th team foul against Yale. So Cornell's going to shoot free throws on every common foul the rest of the game. And the Big Red are the 2nd best free throw shooting team in the Ivy League at just over 73%.
And this is one of those things where if you have the lead, especially a big one at home, if you're Yale, making compound mistakes back to back to back can give your opponent unnecessary life. And for a team like Cornell that's very streaky shooting, you don't want to catch them hot.
Mannon behind the back for Ragland. 10 to shoot. What a move, and a block by Malloy, but a foul. See if that goes on Poulikitis or Malloy. It is Poulikitis, his 3rd, and now 3 different Yale players have 3 fouls, and this could be a parade to the free throw line the rest of the game for Cornell.
And that's kind of tough because you ended up having Malloy make a bit of contact. He got up there to try to make the block. But leaving that door open for Cornell to not even have to put quality possessions on the floor. If they can just force their way to the line, with 3 trips, it's a 2 to 3 possession game. And yet.
Yeah, you got to make them, obviously. Ragland's now 2 of 3 at the line in this game. 74.5% this year. 4 points and 6 boards today. Leading Cornell in the rebounding category. One for 2 makes it a 12-point game. Cornell has not led since 9-7. Remember, they started the game on a quick 5-0 run.
It's so interesting, though, that we've seen Cornell extend pressure on 94 feet, but we haven't really seen them press as much. They're just sort of shadowing the ball handler to force him to make a mistake. It's kind of worked so far. Ooh, that looked like it was off Garam.
Here he comes into the paint. It was stripped, and it's off Yassine Garam. And Cornell ball. Jarvis is back in for Yale. Has not scored in the second half after his 18 in the first.
And Cornell really wants to push the tempo, and I don't blame them. You've already got Yale sleeping. Why would you give them a chance to wake up?
That's a round and out for Chris Manning. Didn't look like he quite caught that ball clean. And now a foul against Gray. These two teams are very physical with each other right now, and nobody's really getting away with anything.
And that I think is a good thing. You've got to give Cornell a bit of credit, because even with Yale's mistakes, if they had taken themselves mentally that far out of it, it could be a 16, 17-point game.
Well, how about this for you, Unqua? Yale has not scored in exactly 3 minutes, but Cornell has only been able to cut 1 point into the lead. Feinberg, the captain, back in on his senior day. One of 4 seniors for the Bulldogs. 10 to shoot.
That's great recovery by Gray.
And he draws the foul.
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Gray didn't quite lean into him with the body. It looked a bit straight up. Let's take one more look. I don't know. That's a little tough. I personally like a bit more of a physical game, but if nothing else, the calls have been pretty consistent, I'd say, on both sides.
This is not the right guy to foul if you're Cornell. Mahoney is 95%, and Mannon's got some blood on him, so he'll have to go get that worked on, and he'll just come out of the game. Keller Boothby back in. By the way, that was the 3rd foul against Isaiah Gray. Mahoney does not quite qualify for any leaderboard categories for free throw shooting, but if he did, he would be number 1 in the Ivy League and the country. He's now 59 for 62 at the line this year. Williams, and Cornell needs that guy to get going.
And I was really surprised that we didn't see more from him to start the half. Now here comes some of that pressure.
And a blocking foul against Naz Williams, his 2nd, and Cornell's 4th.
Tough call, but I think the right one. Williams was just a step too late. And it's interesting because Cornell is now starting to bring the pressure all the way up the floor. It's going to take them a little bit to get to their spots and make sure they're first to those spots to force those turnovers.
Malloy on the cut. And one. Jack Malloy 2 points, and he'll shoot for one more.
And that's how you take advantage of a mismatch. Cornell was in man. Williams was just trying to make sure he was there at the right place at the right time, but it was much better for Malloy, who's got Williams by 5 inches and at least 50 pounds.
5 points for Malloy, and this, the largest lead of the game for Yale. Where is Cornell's answer going to come from? How about Boothby? 5 of 22 from 3 for the Big Red. The best three-point shooting team in the Ivy League has gone cold in their biggest game this year.
And there really is no more time for an eventually, not with a 15-point lead.
Feinberg. Jarvis fouled on the floor. 6-team foul against Cornell. So now both teams in the penalty.
And I don't know. I know that Cornell's trying to force the issue and get some turnovers, but you really hate that you had an opportunity to be a bit more aggressive and you've used up pretty much all of your cushion in terms of fouls. So now it'll be a parade to the free throw line for both teams from here on out.
Jarvis wants it in the post, trying to go through a double. Can't hit. Got his own rebound, and he's fouled. And Jarvis will shoot free throws for a new career high in scoring.
And that's just good recognition by Yale. I mean, yeah, we see the foul on the putback attempt, but that's good recognition by Mahoney. He had the bigger defender out on him, and that bigger defender was a couple steps behind him. Meanwhile, Jarvis, big size advantage inside. Good recognition to get Jarvis the ball.
Now 3 of 3 at the line tonight, and a career-high 19 points to go with 9 rebounds for Jarvis. He has 2 double-doubles already this year. Did it against Monmouth and Penn. Just needs 1 more rebound for a third.
I mean, when your team is as good as Yale's, I'm not sure how fair it is to talk about unsung heroes, but what E.J. Jarvis has really brought to this team with Matt Noling not always being available, it's a huge part of the reason why they're tops, or rather, with a win, will be back at the top of the Ivans.
It's going to be a kick ball against Yale, and that'll take us to another break. 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go in New Haven. Yale has its largest lead of the night, 17 points, the margin over Cornell.
Lily! Welcome to our third Barkery.
Oh, I can tell business is going through the woo.
But seriously, we need a reliable way to help keep everyone connected from wherever we go.
Well, at AT&T, we'll help you find the right wireless plan for you, so you can stay connected to all your drivers and stores on America's most reliable 5G network.
That sounds just perfect.
Terrierific.
I Labrador you.
Round of applause.
AT&T 5G is fast, reliable, and secure for your business.
The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits, like 2 times miles on every purchase.
The noise canceling. You're being too loud. Thank you. Good choice. My lucky number.
Earn 5 times miles on flights.
Enjoy your stay.
Going up?
And 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel. Plus, get access to over 1,300 airport lounges.
White wine, please.
And maybe see the one and only Taylor Swift. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
The slices and the sticks.
All I ever wanted for dinner was pizza, Marcy. And all I ever asked of you was steaks.
Don't choose. Get Little Caesar slices and sticks. Half pizza, half Italian cheese sticks. And Dane's awake.
I smell bacon.
End the dinner drama with hot and ready slices and sticks. Or order online for new jalapeno or bacon sticks.
Pizza.
If you shop at Walmart, you know you don't always have to go to the store. Because when you order on the Walmart app, everything you need is right at your fingertips. So no matter how you shop, could spend a little less, to get a little more, to make life a little better.
Well, Yale needs just 2 wins to at least share the Ivy League regular season title and be the #1 seed in the Ivy League tournament in 2 weeks at Jadwin Gymnasium at Princeton. They won the tournament at Harvard last year, and right now up by 17 at home against Cornell. But don't forget, the last time these two schools met, Cornell finished the game on a 37-12 run. Big Red needs something like that to happen on the road tonight.
And it seems like we've just been sitting, waiting. When is Cornell finally going to get hot?
Dolan missed the 3. They are 5 of 23 from 3. Jarvis in transition, and he floats it in. 22 points for E.J. Jarvis.
And Cornell was caught up trying to stop the ball. They had 3 defenders committed to the handler in transition. Someone's going to be open.
Yale has outscored Cornell 18-5 since the break. Malloy goes down. 3 is no good, and there's the double-double for Jarvis. His 3rd double-double of the season, and they're going to check on Jack Malloy here. I'll tell you what, this game is, and you hope Malloy's all right, this game has kind of lost its rhythm.
For both teams, really. I mean, when Yale started the first half, even though they had the large advantage after the break, it was really disjointed. No real communication on offense, making really silly decisions on defense, picking up a ton of fouls. But Cornell just hasn't been able to take advantage. Some of their looks have been open.
Jarvis. And 1. It is simply E.J. Jarvis's night.
And if you're going to shut down Lee Amphitheater to close your Yale career, that is how it is done. Really a bang-bang play. Ragland was outside the circle, but an excellent play by Jarvis, who has really been everywhere.
Leaves that short. Still 24 points and 10 rebounds for E.J. Jarvis. Ragland for 3. Got it. Big 3 for Cornell. They had been one of their last 9. It's back to an 18-point game, just over 11 minutes to go.
And Cornell trying to bring the pressure, but I've said it once and I'll say it again. Bringing 2 guys to the middle is not pressure. That's a mistake.
Karam off the screen. 5 to shoot. Mahoney hoists it. Oh, yes!
Mahoney's a bad boy. What can you say?
12 for August Mahoney. Ragland with a big size advantage here. Trying to take advantage, and he does. 10 points now to lead Cornell for Ragland, back playing in his home state tonight.
I mean, look, if you're going to make some noise coming back home, no better time to do it than now.
Jarvis.
And now he's the one that seems to be matched up with Jarvis. So we'll see if he can limit the senior.
10 to shoot here. Jarvis gave it away. Gray. And Dolan is fouled by E.J. Jarvis, and that'll mean a 1-and-1.
Cornell catching a break. On that drive, you really, if you're Gray, you have to give up the ball a little earlier than that. I mean, Dolan was in the corner for really 2 seconds untouched. That would have been the look that they need, especially for Dolan, who's been so quiet all game long. The best opportunity you could give him to score, just give him as much space as you can.
By the way, Naz Williams is on the bench with 4 fouls for Cornell. That was Jarvis's second. Kelly, Pulakidis, Basaama, Mbang all back in the game here for Yale. All before this Dolan 1-and-1. Adam Hinton is in the game for the first time for Cornell. Seldom used guard for Brian Earl. Just trying to find an answer right now.
Well, at least they've got it down to 17, and they need to keep that pressure on the wings. Cannot send two guys to the middle.
Mbang's got to get it across, does with 1 second to spare.
Oh, that just needed to be 1 second sooner to keep Mbang trapped behind in the backcourt.
Garam, fancy dribbling, takes the bump, and he will shoot the 1-and-1. Hey, while we have a moment, I want to give a shout out to our guy, Brandon Sherrod, who called a lot of these games with us this year. He is back in Israel, continuing his professional basketball career, just signed on to continue playing overseas. And as much as we miss calling the games with Brandon, the former Bulldog, wish him all the best in Israel.
And we've both had the pleasure of sharing this space, this airtime with him. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Garam missed the front end there. Chance for maybe a mini run here for Cornell. 9 to go. Josh Baldwin. Now a 3. And that is good right off the bench for Adam Hinton.
Good timing for the young one. Right off the bench, letting it fly. Very surprised they haven't used more of Ragland, who's leading the team with 10 points, but they'll take what they can get.
Mbang for Kelly, and he throws it away. By the way, this is only the 9th game that Hinton has appeared in this year. And he is now 5 of 5 from 3 this year. It's not bad.
You know, just your typical 100%. It's nothing to write home about.
Williams back in with the 4 fouls. Fillion for Hinton. And he's a little out of control. This is a tie-up. And the possession arrow keeps it with Cornell. This is a 7-0 run for the Big Red.
And if you're Hinton, you maybe just want to keep that. You just want to keep the ball off. I know he had a bit of a lane, but once that lane closed up, you got to get rid of the ball. You have to.
It's giving his team a little spark here. No doubt about it. 10 to shoot. Nas Williams with the contact. Will shoot 2.
This is that mini run that we were talking about. Trying to wonder when Cornell was going to be able to start to put something together, and they might have hints of that right now. Williams, who's going to need to be careful pretty much the rest of the way, wisely being aggressive, going against Kelly. We know Isaiah Kelly has the athleticism to change any shot at the rim, but you got to take that chance, and Williams so far has made it count.
Well, we called it a mini run, but it's threatening to be a full-fledged adult run. It's 8 in a row now for Cornell. This is back to a 13-point game, and Williams has 1 more.
So is the number for maturity 10? Is that what is that our arbitrary number of maturity here?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends. Like, this one's sort of taken a while, so it doesn't feel like that quick 9-10-0 run in a minute.
That is fair.
I feel like it's a judgment call that we're allowed to make.
We make most of the rules. I didn't say all the rules. Most of the rules.
By the way, Williams is now in double figures for the 19th time this year. 11 points for the sophomore. Scored about 7 a game last year, and he's nearly doubled that this year. He'll go back to the bench with the 4 fouls, but this is a 12-point game And Cornell, with the way they can shoot the ball, is certainly still within striking distance.
I love the offense-defense switch here, too, because Gray, bit of a bigger body, good hands, a good substitution for Cornell.
And Gray just runs over Poulikitis. That'll give the sophomore 2 free throws.
And at the same time, you just can't. Point blank, period. Right, you're not even playing the ball at that point.
Poulikitis shooting the double bonus. 9 points today, 1 of 2 at the line after 30 last game against Princeton. As we said, Yale did lose by 2 points at Penn on Friday night. But you look at what they've done the last couple weeks. Yes, they are 7-1 in their last 8 in conference play, but you beat Princeton by 10 in overtime, beat Columbia by 31, beat Dartmouth by 19, Harvard by 11, Princeton by 22, Penn by 7. So not only are they winning, a lot of these games have been fairly comfortable margins.
And that's something you'd love to have going into Ivy Madness.
How about the physicality of Isaiah Gray? He now has 9.
He's just got to be more careful defensively. I can't get that foul out of my head because you didn't have to run Poulikitis over. There was nothing else for him.
A 59-47 lead here for Yale.
Oh, that was the matchup, and Bang probably wanted. Having Gray on him with 4 fouls could have gone right at him.
Poulikitis for a Malloy 3. Chance to get this to 10 or 9. Hinton almost ripped away by Mbang. Loose on the deck, and Mbang comes away with it. Jarvis up high, and he lays it in.
He really wanted to throw that down, but great to have the presence of mind. Just put the ball in the basket.
Mahoney almost got a steal. Mannon, Ragland, and a timeout taken by Brian Earl as Ragland has come alive in the second half. It's an 11-point game with 6:40 to go. Yale has led since 9-7. But Cornell's starting to feel something down the stretch.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than this.
Stop. You're in.
Oh, cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Interesting piece. Let me bring in my expert.
So many scratches.
Those are from my car keys.
Such a rich history. This won't do well at auction, but at AT&T, it's worth a brand new Samsung Galaxy S23.
Wait, really? What about this?
AT&T's deal is back. Everyone gets a free new Samsung Galaxy S23 with a Galaxy phone trade-in. Any year, any condition.
Everyone gets a BK stacker.
Tiny dancers.
2 linebackers.
To each their own. Burger, swagger, satisfaction, all day.
And BK, having your way.
Don't worry. It happens to the best of us.
It does?
It happens to surgeons, judges.
Overruled.
Airport ground crew, game show contestants.
Bermuda Triangle.
Megan's Rainer. Bowlers. It even happened to your little cousin Timmy.
That doesn't even make sense.
That doesn't matter.
Thanks, Grandpa.
I'm light as a feather, I'm light as a feather, yeah, baby, I float. It's hard to look at my resume and not find a reason to toast. I'm counting my blessings, we ain't stressing, just look at this glow.
Sunday Showcase on ABC.
A Cornell run has this back to a 61-50 game. 6:40 to go in New Haven. Justin Galanti, Unkwa Asonye, glad to be with you. Our entire crew doing yeoman's work as always. And the Bulldogs with the basketball out of the timeout, trying to stay in that three-way first place tie in which they will have the upper hand in the tiebreakers going into next week if Yale can win this game. James Jones also hoping to become the second coach in Ivy League history with 200 conference wins. And for whatever it's worth, it would be his 371st overall win.
That's not a bad number.
There's Bez Mbang on a step back, decided not to shoot it.
That's solid coverage by Cornell on that one. Baldwin keeping up with him.
Jarvis on the no-look pass from Mbang.
Hey, man, not much you can do about that. That's what a floor general is supposed to do.
28 points for E.J. Jarvis. Isaiah Gray going baseline on Poulakidis, left it short. Ball comes loose. Baldwin ends up with it, and he's fouled.
And I'll be honest, I don't know how I feel about swings from behind shots. You know, you don't want to pick up fouls that way.
13-point game. Back to a break. We'll be back in a moment in New Haven.
At Team Impact, we pair kids who have been sidelined by serious illness and disability with college teams from across the country.
What's up, big man? You good?
It's more than a single-day meet and greet or photo opportunity. Our program places kids on a multi-year journey, becoming true members of a collegiate athletics team.
We are
Penn State.
From signing day to game day.
I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact. All in, all together.
Well, the Yale Club for me has become a second home.
With 13,000 members, all of whom come from different backgrounds.
You discovered this family you didn't know you had until you showed up here.
My favorite thing about the Yale Club is connecting with new people who are bright and driven and interesting and making those new connections.
Just walking in brings a sense of calm to my day.
The Yale Club is my home away from home.
Well, coming into tonight, this was billed as a battle of the Ivy League's best offense in Cornell against the league's best defense in Yale. And so far, Unkwa, it's the defensive team that's winning out.
And Yale has dodged a few of its own mistakes. It's dodged a lot of attacks that have come from Cornell. I mean, what Yale has successfully managed to do is really force Cornell into questionable decision-making. They also have managed to attack Nas Williams, who's got 4 fouls and has to hit the bench. Cornell, it's so interesting because we mentioned before, on the one hand, they are very much a team that is hero by committee. But the downside of that is that you don't really have a go-to. So you have to trust your team to figure out who to hit and whether you can make sure that they get the job done at the right time.
Well, 2 missed free throws from Josh Baldwin is not going to help the effort. Yale is led by as many as 21 points in the half. It's 13 at the moment. With 2 wins, the Bulldogs will be Ivy League regular season champions and the #1 seed in the Ivy League tournament. Pulikitis downhill. No one stops him, plus the foul.
And this, I mean, what more? You have to just stay in front of him better. I'm sorry, there's no better way to say it. Great job by Pulikitis going downhill. We know he's a lefty. It's in the scout that he's a lefty. You can't give him the left-handed layup.
Cooper Nord is checking in for the first time for Cornell. That foul was the third against Chris Mannon. Pulikitis has 13 points today, following up the 30 a week ago against Princeton. It is go time for the Big Red. They will be home for Columbia next week, who's the last place team in the league. So you don't play games on paper, but you feel like they have a good chance to win. And then next week, Cornell becomes huge Yale fans, as Yale is at Brown. So if you're Cornell, if you lose tonight, you hope you win. You hope Yale, as Williams makes the layup, you hope Yale beats Brown, and then you pray the tiebreakers work your way.
To be honest, they might be playing themselves into a rematch with Yale if things shake out that way in the next few weeks.
Jarvis needs 2 points for 30. 10 to shoot for Mbang. Here's Jarvis. Inside, Jarvis. Give him 30 and give him one more.
Yale is the runaway freight train. And in this case, it is E.J. Jarvis. He's flushed it. He's finessed it. He's made it rain. That's how you close out a senior career at home.
.31 for Jarvis. And he becomes the first Yale player with 30 points in a game in a week.
Look at you setting up drama.
Naz Williams to the rim, and he has 15.
Cornell has really let itself down the last two possessions. And it's not even just that they've been picking up fouls. Those fouls have come as and ones. They need stops.
Mbang for Kelly. How about this guy again? He's asking for it. 8 to go for E.J. Jarvis.
I'm shocked they didn't take Ragland off the dribble there. It left him so much space.
A turnover. Cooper Nord ahead. Dolan does not get the roll. Gray lays it back up and in. 69-56 the score.
And it is wild that for all the back and forth action, Cornell is still within 13. Makes you think if 1 or 2 threes go down or they handle the last couple of defensive possessions better, it might be more of a game.
Not sure how that shot from Mbang didn't go in. Williams throws it away. Three minutes and 10 seconds to go. And Yale needs to finish this one out to play for a title next week.
Bravo! For buying a treadmill?
You use the Quicksilver card from Capital One. It's simple, with no annual fee and unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. That makes you the hero of every purchase.
Yeah.
And heroes don't take the stairs.
Is this a parachute?
What's in your wallet?
Everyone gets a BK stacker.
Tiny dancers.
2 linebackers.
To each their own. Burger, swagger, satisfaction, buffet.
At BK, have it your way.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket. I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great.
Cricket has allowed me to stay connected and really just enjoy a little bit more of that travel lifestyle.
The reliability that I've had with Cricket, for me personally, is unmatched, and that's why I stick with them.
From affordable service to the latest 5G phones, Cricket has something for everyone. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Mr. Clark, your daughter is a very good kisser.
When you crave the uncomfortable, try new Spicy Pringles Scorchin'.
.312 to go at Lee Amphitheater in New Haven, and Yale with a 13-point lead, trying to move to 8-1 in its last 9 games after a 1-3 start to the Ivy League. And Unkwa, what's really amazing about this team is that 2 games in a row you've had to play without your leading scorer, and you've had 2 different guys go for 30. Pulakidis against Princeton, and Jarvis has 31 tonight.
And it speaks to the fact that this Yale club has been together long enough that it's not an ego play. It's not about who can do what that day and trying to posture about it. It's figuring out what you need to do to win the game.
Here's August.
E.J. Jarvis.
August Mahoney gave it up for Kelly, and a steal for Marcus Fillion. The door is still slightly ajar for Cornell, but that might close it. And bang, a little showtime! He's nodding his head. He didn't get the lift off he wanted.
He'll take the 2 points, though.
7 for Mbang. And Jarvis with a steal. Add that to his stat line for good measure.
I'm not even sure if I can give, oh boy.
Up high and down hard from Isaiah Kelly.
Well, if the door was ajar, Justin, I think by now it's slammed shut.
Dolan misses an 8 of 29 evening from behind the arc from Cornell. A game they just couldn't afford that.
And the worst part about it is that, Justin, a couple of those 2 possessions, I can't even say that Yale forced those turnovers. Yeah, Cornell just threw it right to him.
Jarvis. Oh, yes. It is E.J. Jarvis's world. 34 on senior night.
That boy is unconscious. Everywhere he's been on the floor has been a net positive. That's not an easy thing to do during the full stretch of a game. Feet are set. It wasn't even the best look because he was guarded enough for it to be contested. And he absolutely cashed it. Unbelievable.
I was joking before about the 30 thing, but the last Yale player with 34 in a game was Azar Swain last January against Columbia. And Feinberg is back in. The senior captain trying to close out one more victory. This Yale team is going to be 10-1 at home this year. Continuing to absolutely dominate on this floor, and since 2014, Yale 82-27, including tonight, in Ivy League games.
And you know what, for good measure, let's see if Michael Feinberg can cash one out to close out his time at Lee Amphitheater.
And Isaiah Kelly will get an ovation. James Jones will take him off this floor for the final time.
And you know, when you leave a place for the final time in your career, you know, the emotions don't always hit you right away in terms of how it is that, you know, you think about your career, you think about the highs, you think about the rough practices. It is so satisfying, especially in a game with stakes like this one, to leave this place with a win.
Gray hits the first free throw. Kelly actually fouled out on that play, but...
Well, that's awkward.
Last year, James Jones did do this with the seniors, and I think he's going to do it here. Jarvis will be taken out for the last time. 34 points, 10 rebounds. Talk about saving your best for last. E.J. Jarvis did that. Bulakidis is just a sophomore, but he gets an ovation. Same for Bez Mbang. Yale emptying the bench for the final 127. As is Cornell.
Like I said, honestly, on this possession, you got one job. Get your captain a chance to score and get him out of the game.
Teo Rice with the basketball. Malloy trying to give it up here. Here's the captain, Feinberg. Can't finish, and the rebound down to Cooper Nord.
Wow.
Three is no good for Nord. Rebound loose. Rice has his hands on it. Tie up. And it will be Yale ball with 43.1 to go. 34 for Jarvis, 14. For Poulakidis and 12 for Mahoney.
And for the Bulldogs, this is how you take care of business in your own building. And Cornell looking for an opportunity to do the same.
And James Jones will just take a timeout to take Mike Feinberg off the floor for the last time here.
And it's so interesting because as a captain, especially for Feinberg, captain didn't mean that he was going to be guaranteed playing time or start every game. It's how you lead. And he's done enough to get the respect of not just those in the stands, but those he plays with. Job well done.
I like your point there. I mean, sometimes captains are just the seniors, but in this case for him, incredible stuff that his team has voted him captain, and he's been a great leader all year. Shot clock is turned off here. Nearly a steal there for Garam. See if Cornell puts up one more shot here. This is Chris Kane. Hinton with time running low. And that is going to do it from New Haven. A 76-58 statement win for Yale. And the Bulldogs will play for the 1 seed in the Ivy League tournament next week.
And I'll tell you what, Justin, this is a real confidence builder, a really great opportunity for Yale to clinch the #1 seed next week. But if you're going